I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
What's happening, YouTube? My name's Immortal Coil, and today we're talking space bigots. It's no surprise to us in 2020 that entertainment writers are centered on diversity and representation for whatever noble cause they tell themselves. This, in fact, is social engineering disguising itself as virtue signaling. Science fiction has historically been a means to fictionalize and offer commentary on human prejudices. Star Trek, the original series, was brilliant in this. It was diverse and inclusive, first and foremost in its bridge crew. We had an African American female in charge of communications, which was recognized by none other than the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. himself prior to his demise by the government. We also had an Asian tactical officer, Hikaru Sulu. And we also had, during the show's production, the height of the Cold War, our mortal enemy, a Russian, driving the ship. We also had Scotsmen, we had Americans, we had Canadians. We also had an alien bridge officer, Mr. Spock, from the planet Vulcan. And because it was the 60s and because of blah 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 blah, they had to make him half human. Fine. Still pretty fucking diverse. The Orville is perhaps the most recent example of being able to offer such relevant commentary, where we're able to point out the absurdities of our own time in a way that's entertaining and thought-provoking, instead of bludgeoning us over the head with identity politics. 3 classic Star Trek episodes come to mind. There's The Devil in the Dark, where humans are threatened by an intelligence they do not understand because it does not communicate verbally, and its biology is completely foreign to anything that would naturally occur on planet Earth. It took a telepathic mind meld in order to bridge the communication. Errand of Mercy featured 2 cultures who were politically polar opposites of each other in terms of what the stars represented and what they could benefit from them. At a battlefield on a planet that, unbeknownst to them, was inhabited by beings that were beyond the need of physicality, and really questioned the need for war in an arena where war was forbidden. Go check that out. It's a great episode. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield was perhaps the supreme ultimate example of this type of thinking. You had 2 extraterrestrials, both half black and half white, but one was black on the left side and one was black on the right side, and they continued to fight and try to kill each other until they realized that they were the last of their species. So what did they do? Check that episode out to find out. Now here's my issue, is that any show or movie featuring human beings, Terran human beings from Sol 3, would be absolutely correct in casting a diverse human cast, because that's where we come from. So take a movie like Riddick. Okay, there's Asians, there's black people, there's white people, there's Latins, there's every fucking color and creed and race and religion under the rainbow is present there, because this is a movie about humans exiting planet Earth and going out into the stars and seeing what's out there. I can deal with that. Cool. But the opposite should hold true if we're dealing with completely non-human planets in sectors that are far and away removed from where we live, or in galaxies far away from we live. Now, say you actually wanted to cook up a story that featured human beings, but in a separate facility. Okay, I might give you a little rope on that. Star Wars was pretty good about that. There was a human race, okay? We had Caucasian people like Luke and Anakin. We had Asian people. We had black people like Lando Calrissian and Mace Windu, the second most powerful Jedi ever. But then pre-Disney, George Lucas went out of the way to feature non-human races, and they predominantly populated the galaxy far, far away. Okay? We had insectoid races. We had reptilian races. We had various types of mammalian races, aquatic races, and we had artificial forms of intelligent life. Now, at first, George Lucas utilized puppetry and makeup to create the type of beings that he saw inhabiting his galaxy. But later on, as computer graphics improved to the level he was able to utilize them in his creations, he did so in order to present a diverse populace. Doctor Who, I would question, as in recent years, Terran notions of gender and race have come to take precedence over casting and plot point decisions. We got the first female Doctor, and then we got the first Doctor of color, who might be, in fact, the first Doctor ever. We don't know how they're going to play with these blessed upon you regeneration loops. So, tune in, find out. And remember, this isn't the first time Doctor Who went to shit. Doctor Who in the 80s, I don't even want to talk about that. Star Trek Voyager took a leap in featuring a black Vulcan, Tuvok, the security chief, whereas prior, Vulcans to that point were presented more as a Slavic or Ashkenazim in a bone structure and skin tone. Now, the Klingons in Star Trek The Next Generation, I have to concede this point, did cast black actors. Okay, we can look at Worf, we can look at his brother Kurn, and they were black actors, yes, but whereas Tuvok was presented as ethnically black, Worf and Kurn were presented just as other Klingons. Star Trek Picard has taken it to the highest extreme, with very obvious different racial groups of Romulans. We have Irish Romulans, Asian Romulans, we have black Romulans, and then we have the old style TOS Romulans, a la the Enterprise incident. Now here's the problem. While it's a good idea for Terran humans to learn to accept and embrace our cultural and racial differences, it is extremely Earthacist of us to assume that all other planets and all other peoples possess different racial groups within their populaces. Projecting our societal issues into an interstellar or intergalactic arena which we know nothing about assumes that racial groups are solely Darwinian adaptations to various terrain and separation of intelligent species all over the place. In the Milky Way galaxy alone, there are hundreds of trillions of stars, and any number of them could support intelligent life. This is according to the Drake equation. N equals R times F sub S times F sub P times N sub E times F sub L times F sub I times F sub C times L, where R equals the average rate of star formation, F to sub S equals the fraction of good stars that have planetary systems, N to the sub e equals number of planets around those stars within an echo shell. F to the sub L equals the fraction of those planets where life actually develops. And F to the sub I equals the fraction of those living species which develop intelligence. F to the sub C equals the fraction of intelligent species with communications technology. And L equals the lifetime of the communicative phase. According to that equation, the number of intelligent civilizations should be absurd. Do all those civilizations have an Asia? Do all of them have an Africa? Do all of them have a Europe? Do all of them have a South America? Do all of them have a Australia? Are all of those planets tilted on its axis relative to its orbit around its star? And have they been visited by extraterrestrial civilizations, perhaps influenced, perhaps genetically? And isn't it perhaps Earthacist of us to assume that they do? Should we project our value systems onto cultures that we have not yet encountered? Is that wise?
So, there you have it. My thoughts on Earthacists and space bigotry. My name's Immortal Coil. Like, share, subscribe, drop me a comment. Let me know what you want to see covered on future editions of Savage Spirituality. Check out my brothers and sisters in the Fandom Menace. We're a group of channels dedicated to purity in our modern mythology, and together, you and I can turn around the shit show that passes as entertainment in 2020. And remember, if we haven't yet been visited by intelligent life, maybe it's because we need to get our shit in order here.
Here on Marklar, everyone and everything is referred to as Marklar.
Marklar? These Marklars went to change your Marklar. They don't want this Marklar or any of his Marklars to live here because it's bad for their Marklar. They use Marklar to try and force Marklars to believe they're Marklar. If you let them stay here, they will build Marklars and Marklars. They will take all your Marklars and replace them with Marklar. These Marklars have no good Marklar to live on Marklar, so they must come here to Marklar. Please, let these Marklars stay where they can grow and prosper without any Marklars. Marklars are Marklars.